Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Celtic Way YouTube channel. My name is Ryan McGinlay, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Wesley from the Kein Geloel podcast. Wesley, how are you doing today?
Very, very good. Thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome. I don't know how it is with you guys in Scotland over there. I don't sleep very good at all at the moment. I'm so nervous for the first Champions League game. So yeah, very happy to speak about it.
Yeah, I think we're all quite excited as well. We record this on Friday afternoon, both in here and in Holland, but there's league games to be dealt with before the Feyenoord game or before the Celtic game on your side. But yeah, it's all everybody's looking forward to the Champions League. The first game, it's a chance to see new players under the bright lights. Really, really exciting. We'll get into talk about Celtic's Champions League opponents, who are Feyenoord, familiar foes from 1970. There's a lot of history that goes between the two teams. But before we get started, if I could just get everyone to look at the ticker tape down at the bottom of the screen. If you visit www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe, you'll get the best Celtic content that the internet has to offer. Subscribe, you'll be supporting top quality football journalism covering the club you love. Visit www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe, and if you can you please subscribe to the YouTube channel? We're seeing a really big uprise in subscribers over the past month or so any help is muchly appreciated. We are growing as a channel and it is doing really well, so please, if you are interested and you're feeling generous enough to subscribe to the channel, please do so. So we'll talk about the two teams now. Celtic v Feyenoord at the Coop on Tuesday night. It's definitely an exciting prospect between two teams that know a lot about each other. How are you feeling with regards to this game? Is it one that you're looking forward to, or is it? It seems as if it's one of these games that could be on a knife edge, especially these two teams. A lot of history between the two. How are you feeling towards this game?
Yeah. It's been 6 years that we played in the Champions League, and the campaign 6 years ago was not that good at all. And of course, you're looking forward to this game. It's a very big game in our club's history. It's just, I think, the fourth time we qualified for Champions League in the century. So yeah, that's not a good record at all, I would say. But yeah, of course, we are delighted. And this game, I think, there's a big opportunity for Feyenoord to win this game. I hope you don't mind me saying this, but we are quite confident we can win this game, although there are some problems with our strikers. We're going to talk about that as well, I think. But yeah, no, just from a romantic point of view, it's beautiful that this game is the start of this Champions League campaign. Because yeah, it's so beautiful. 1970, of course, I was not there, but I've heard the stories from from older people, from my grandparents, all the way up to Milan after a beautiful campaign, and then winning this final is the absolute the highest point Feyenoord ever was in the club's history, winning the European Cup at that time, Champions League nowadays, of course, against Celtic. So I don't hope there is. That is a big problem for you guys, and there's also, I would say, there is like a friendship between the two clubs. I think I don't know too much about it, but if you see on Twitter, on Instagram, there are some friendly gestures, I think, and I think that's very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. There does seem to be a really good connection between the two supporters. I don't know if that stemmed from the 1970 UEFA Cup or European Cup final, rather, but I have seen over the past couple of years there has been quite a few Feyenoord fans that have went to Celtic Park and vice versa. I'm sure there's Celtic fans that have went to the Coop the other way. There seems to be a good connection between the two. It's definitely one of the better relationships between two teams in this group, because we know that Celtic have a bit of a storied history with both Lazio and Atletico Madrid. There has been some sort of controversies that have went on over in their history. So yeah, I think it is nice to have that sort of meeting between two friends in football. And, as you say, Feyenoord will be the favourites in that game. I know I was calling it on a knife edge, but it all depends on what two teams turn up on the night. Both teams, you could say, have had mixed starts to the season. Feyenoord have had 2 wins and 2 draws. They are unbeaten in the league, but they have dropped points on 2 occasions. Our last game,
you put it quite positive, I think, in that way. No, it was absolutely not the start we hoped for. As a champion in the Netherlands, you play first the Super Cup game against the PSV. We played you would say PSV, I think, from Eindhoven. You've seen them, I think, in Scotland against the Rangers, your big rivals, of course. They started the season quite well, and I think we were all so, we thought we would win this game against the PSV. We did not. We lost the game, the Super Cup final. It's a shame because you can add a prize to the collection, and it's not that Feyenoord won so many prizes the last 25 years or something. So every prize counts. You lost that game. Afterwards, there was the season start. Against a very, I would say a very poor side team that ends maybe at the 12th, 13th place from the 18. It's not a big team, and you play 0-0 after a red card, by the way. So okay, you could also say you won a point, but of course that was not the start we hoped for, and it went even further. The second game of the season, we lost this, and we did not lose. It felt like we lost it. It was a 2-2 draw against Sparta, also from Rotterdam, and it was absolutely not the start we hoped for. And luckily, the last two games were quite good. A lot of goals scored home against a promoted team, Almere City. It's in the name with City. Manchester City, you would think, no, absolutely not. They play terrible. So it was 6-1, and the last game we played against Utrecht, it was 1-5. So a lot of goals scored, a lot of different goal scorers as well. That's, I think, quite positive. So there were some negative thoughts at the beginning of the season. Could we get to this level from last season where Feyenoord was like a football machine by our coach Arne Slot, very good trainer, and we had some doubts. I have to be honest, but I would say now after 2 wins, the world is looking much better.
Yeah, I always think a win can definitely help you in that regard. It can change the mentality and the sort of the mood music around the place. One of my my fellow podcasters says that the mood music is changed when you get a good win under your belt or under your sleeve or in your sleeve rather. I think Celtic are the same. Celtic have had a bit of a mixed start to the season. They get put out of their domestic cup to Kilmarnock away from home, which was a terrible result. They also dropped points against the bottom side in the league, St Johnstone, nothing each. There has been a bit of an adjustment period, I would say, with Brendan Rodgers. He's coming back from Leicester. He left Celtic for Leicester four or so years ago. He's came back. He's doing the job that Ange Postecoglou has been was doing last season and the season before. Who's doing a good job down at Tottenham now. I know we'll go on to talk about him in a wee bit because I know he has a bit of a connection with Feyenoord's manager. You can say definitely the domino effect was definitely felt between those two managers, but. Yeah, I think the last result was a big one for Celtic, beating Rangers at Ibrox with no Celtic fans there at the game. It was all Rangers fans. Celtic to win 1-0 off of their main talisman, Kyogo, scoring another goal. He is one of the main men for Celtic at the moment. So yeah, I think there is a lot more confidence. When we are recording this is the Friday. Celtic do play Dundee tomorrow as things stand. When this is going out, the result will already be finalised. I'm sure the result will be finalised with Feyenoord as well. So we can't talk about what's going to happen this weekend because this is before it's happened, obviously. But you're just hoping that, we're hoping for both of our sakes that both teams win and both are in a good position going into Tuesday's game. Yeah, just having a wee look at some of the players that are for Feyenoord. Who would you say are the main danger men that Celtic should watch out for? I know it's very much a team spirit at Feyenoord. There's a lot of players that could potentially hurt Celtic, but who are the main danger men? I know there are a couple of injuries just now that are hampering your team.
If we would have played 3 years ago against each other, it would have been a very difficult question because nobody really stood out. At this moment, it's crazy. I don't know if you use the website transfermarket.com to watch the statistics of the players. There you can also see the values of the players, how much they. Of course, it's not the real value of the player, but a lot of people use it in terms of players as this value. It's crazy how it went up the last few years. We have some really good players. Of course, we lost our best player, Orkun Kökçü. He left for Benfica. Beautiful club for him, of course. I would not say it's a better competition, but okay, it's his choice. He's gonna go to a bigger team that's always playing in the Champions League. But okay, he went away. There was a big gap, of course, on the midfield. There is this problem, but I would say now, yeah, we have so many good players left. And the first I wanted to tell you about is Santiago Jimenez, but yeah, he is the striker, and he got a red card against Roma in the Europa League, so he will not be playing in the first game, and also not in the second game. So that's a big miss, because yeah, he is such a popular striker in Rotterdam, in the own country, Mexico, where he comes from. He is almost like a god. It's unbelievable how popular he is. But yeah, so we're gonna miss him definitely. But luckily, there are some good players left. We have Managerial Geertruida playing in the Dutch team as well. Feyenoord, he's playing as a right back or centre back. Very good player. Developed himself quite well, I would say. And next to him, there is David Hansko. He's playing for Slovakia, I think. Did I say that right? Slovakia.
Mm-hmm.
And
Slovakia.
Slovakia, exactly. Now, it's a very funny story. He comes back with I would say, a big boost of the national break, because he scored a goal after 9 seconds. So
wow.
That was one of the fastest goals in international football. So he's quite happy. So our defenders are quite good, I would say. Our midfield is getting better and better. But I would say our defenders are really the best players of the team. Of course, our striker, who's not there. So yeah, we will see. But I would say if Celtic scores a goal, and yeah, of course it can always happen. But then our defenders did not do a good job, I would say.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping that Celtic do not concede a goal after 9 seconds. Yeah, that very much sounds like a Celtic in the Champions League sort of storyline. Definitely something that you could see Celtic doing. Hopefully that isn't the case, especially under Brendan Rodgers in his first game back in the Champions League. I think that's one of the reasons why he's came back to the club. He wasn't going to get that Champions League exposure at Leicester. I know Leicester get relegated with them, or he left just before Leicester get relegated. But Celtic's one of the only places that he could probably get that at this point in his career. And it definitely seems as if that is one of the main reasons why Brendan Rodgers is back at the club at this time. Just having a wee look at your top goal scorer in the league, as you said, was Santiago Jimenez. It seems as if he is the new main man for Feyenoord, as well as Mexico as well. I know Raul Jimenez was the main man for Mexico before he had that terrible injury. I know he's at Fulham, but he's not the same player that he was at Wolves. I know he's only 22 years old, but is he the sort of player that you see Feyenoord making big money for in the next couple of years? Because his goal record looks quite incredible, to be honest.
Yeah, last season he did not even score that many goals. I think for a first season in Rotterdam, he's a player from Mexico. Is going to another part of the world. It's not that easy, I think, to adapt. And he did this quite fast. He was not a starting player until the winter break, I think. So just in January he started playing games from the beginning, and yeah, it had such an impact on our season last season. He was one of the main reasons I think we got champions. We beat Ajax away. He scored a very important goal after just 5 minutes, and I think he brought back some hope, of course, for the fans, because 6 years of not being champion is a lot. And I think you have seen this in Scotland as well. Ajax is winning league after league the last few years, and to break that, it's absolutely beautiful, because Ajax is our biggest rivals, of course. And he was absolutely a big part. He had absolutely a big part in this whole process. Yeah, and if you see now, scored 5 goals in the first 4 games. That are good stats, I would say. It's really disappointing for him that he misses the first 2 games. Yeah, but I would say he is going to bring a lot of money for Feyenoord in the future. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he definitely seems like a very exciting young player. 22 years old. He's only going to get better. I unfortunately don't share the same. I don't share the same disappointment with you that he's got a red card and he can't play. He seems like very much this sort of player that looks as if he's going to take the world by storm in the next few years. So I'm glad that Celtic only need to deal with him at home, you would say, later on in the group. There's another player that joined from Cercle Bruges this season, Ayase Ueda, as well. Now, there's something quite interesting about Group E in the Champions League is that three of the four teams, it's only Atletico Madrid that don't have a Japanese player in their ranks. Kamada plays for Lazio as well, and Celtic are well known for having quite a few Japanese players in and amongst their ranks. Daizen Maeda, Kyogo, Hatate. I think just your opinion on it. It does show that Japanese football is growing. You see that with results against Germany as well. I mean, that 4-1 win against Germany is incredible. They're definitely an emerging nation. There's players all over the world plying their trade and then getting into the Japanese national team. How do you feel about that? I know there's only one player that comes from Japan in the Feyenoord team at this moment in time. But how do you think that is very much like an emerging nation with regard to Japan? You can see the results, they're doing better and better. And you've seen that in the World Cup as well.
Absolutely, and I think it's a good move from Feyenoord to get a player from Japan, because also in commercial ways it's a very good thing to do, because football is really popular in Japan. 20 years ago, Feyenoord won the UEFA Cup with a Japanese player, and he was so popular in the own country. I can remember, I was very young at that time, but there were so many journalists from Japan over in the Netherlands to film what he was doing at Feyenoord, and that's very nice. And just that he would have played against Celtic, but he's also not going to play because he's injured. He's injured, so he scored against Germany with his left foot. Very funny goal. And not long after in this game, he picked up an injury, so he will not be there. So Feyenoord is going to play against Celtic without a striker.
Yeah, wow. That's quite interesting. Yeah, because it's very interesting because Celtic have a lot of defenders that are injured just now as well. So
really?
Celtic won't have their Cameron Carter-Vickers is injured. Celtic's summer signing Mike Nawrowski is injured as well. He came from Legia Warsaw. He was quite highly rated. He was getting linked with Union Berlin and teams like that. Ajax as well, I think, were linked with him too. But they made a couple of late signings. They made a signing from Sweden, Gustav Lagerbielke, who's trying to make his way into the Sweden national team. And then Nat Phillips, who was at Liverpool. He's been on the bench for a couple of years at Liverpool, but he's pretty much an emergency option. So it will be quite an interesting dynamic with regard to Feyenoord not having strikers and Celtic not really having defenders. How is that going to work out? Is it going to balance the two teams out? It could be an interesting thing to watch on Tuesday.
I think then the scoreline we can predict is 7-7 overall, right? No, that's a joke, but. It's funny. Both managers have to make a puzzle for this game. That's also the nice side about football, because there will always be new players, new heroes in games. Of course, there will not be a striker from Feyenoord. We had this already a few years ago. I can remember we played in the Europa League against the Rangers. Also, no strikers available, and then Sinisterra, who plays at Leeds United at the moment, had to play. He's normally a winger, had to play in the striker position. Yeah, this is the frustrating thing for me. It's been 6 years that we played Champions League. We're finally going to play at the highest level. This is what you're dreaming of, your whole life, to see your team playing in at the highest level to the biggest teams, and of course to surprise them, to win against these big teams, and to not be able to play with your best squad is quite frustrating for me.
Yeah, the players that have got you there into the Champions League for the first time in 6 years, or some of the players that have got you there, then cannot play, and it's up to the other players to come in and make an impact. This could be the golden opportunity. That's what a lot of Celtic fans, I think, are seeing from their side. Some injured, well, Celtic have just lost one of their best wingers as well. You know, both teams are getting hit with injuries left, right, and centre. It seems Liel Abada, who was also linked with Ajax. Sorry to mention Ajax. I know they're one of your greatest rivals, but Liel Abada was also linked with Ajax.
I think
too.
all the players in the world were linked with Ajax this summer, not?
Yeah, that's it seems to be the case with Dutch teams, and all the Dutch players and the players in Holland or the Netherlands, or they always get linked elsewhere as well. I know Edson Alvarez, he joined West Ham. You know, some good players that are coming from the Dutch league into the Premier League and there or thereabouts and everywhere. You've got AZ Alkmaar as well that are developing good players too. So it definitely seems as if it's a league that's doing well in terms of developing players and getting good fees as well. And there seems to be a good TV deal as well between the clubs. So yeah, there is a high quality of player definitely. And you see that I mean, Feyenoord did get to the final of the Conference League a couple of years ago as well. So you know they've been used to doing well in these competitions. That was the first Conference League final ever. I know they didn't win the competition, but you know, to get to that final was an incredible feat. And I think it just goes to show you how good a manager Arne Slot is. We could go in and talk about him. Just how good a job has he done? He's been there 2-3 years now. He's been an incredible manager for Feyenoord. Tell us a bit more about him.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. This is his third season. The first 2 seasons, he immediately changed everything for us. The whole feeling about the club. You know, the previous manager was Dick Advocaat. I think you know him as well in Scotland.
He was a Rangers manager.
Absolutely. And he is more a defensive coach. I think Feyenoord was not that good at the moment, so he was trying to build a strong defense and just not concede a lot of goals. But there was also not a lot to enjoy then because there were not that many attacks. So it were poor games. It was absolutely not the football we hoped for. And then in the summer of 2021, do I say this correctly? Yeah, 2021. Arne Slot came, and he changed everything. He changed the whole attitude of the players. The players really wanted to play attacking football, and he came in. He said, "You want to play attacking football? Okay. Then we're gonna play attacking football, but you have to run, and run." So there were some players, for example, Orkun Kukcu, was a little bit on the heavy side for a football player. It's not that he was obese or something, of course not, but for a football player you have to be an athlete, and there were some players who did not do everything, for the football life. So he changed the whole attitude of the players, and I think quite fast we started to notice the difference in playing style. It was attacking football. It was a joy to watch. We won games. That was also I think a very important part. And of course, his first season he immediately reached the European final. And first we thought, Conference League, what's that gotta be? We had some tough opponents, I would say, with Union Berlin. They're playing Champions League right now as well. We beat them. We beat Marseille. Also a big team, of course, in Europe. Luckily, AS Roma was a little bit too... they were not even better, but of course, you cannot win everything in your whole life. It was the first European final that Feyenoord lost, by the way. And last season, Feyenoord almost reached the half final of the Europa League. So we're making big steps here. And of course, with the championship, it's unbelievable that he stayed as well. We thought we'd lost him to Tottenham.
Yeah, and we know all about Tottenham.
Of course, it has. Luckily, he stayed, and that was a big surprise. I think that was the biggest surprise of the whole summer. You know, normally you would look back on a transfer summer and you would say, okay, this player coming to our club is the biggest signing. But actually, I think how we look back on the whole transfer period, him staying and also signing for additional 2 years was for me the biggest signing of our summer. But I think you would look to the situation in a sad way, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, maybe not as sad just now, but we did know. I think Celtic supporters and people who knew about Celtic knew that Ange Postecoglou was going to be a popular figure, even the way that he was playing in the Champions League. Yes, Celtic only got 2 points out of the 18 points that they could have got. But it was the style and the way of football that they played, not too dissimilar to the way that Arne Slot plays, with a possession based, with a pressing. You've got to fight for every ball. Every player has got to be fit. If you're not fit, you just won't get in the team. You'll be away from the team until you are fit. He simplified football, Ange Postecoglou, I would say. He made it very clear. It was his way or the highway. It was plan A. There was never a plan B. Plan B was to do plan A better. And yeah, it seems as if the Tottenham Hotspur had a short list of managers. Arne Slot turned them down, and Ange Postecoglou was next. An Australian manager, 56, 57 years old. He was always going to take that move to the Premier League. Look at the stadium. Look at the league that he's playing in. He won a treble in his last game at Celtic. He won everything that he could have won, apart from maybe going on a run in Europe. But it's allowed Brendan Rodgers to come back into the club. It's been a bit of a mixed start so far, you would say. Going out of the domestic cup, but a win against Rangers helps everything. Have you noticed any with regard to Arne Slot? I know he stayed on and he signed a new deal. Has there been what's the response been from the supporters and the fans? Has it been positive that he stayed? He's the title winner. He got Feyenoord to a European final. He's into the Champions League. Is it all positivity, or was there any sort of negativity with the fact that there was interest there from Tottenham Hotspur?
Nah, I think we could all understand, because it is his dream to once move to the Premier League. I think this is the biggest league in the world. So of course he would love to work there once. I think that he, we see him as one of the best managers we ever had in our club's history, and I think he can achieve big things in the future, also outside of Feyenoord. So in the Premier League, maybe. Of course, a new language for him. Way more cameras, way better players, way better opponents. Of course, all that. But I think that he could become one of the Netherlands' best managers we've ever seen. So wow. It says everything about him. How he changed the whole perspective on Feyenoord. We were always the number 3 club in the Netherlands. I could never understand this, because we have such a huge fan base. It's I would say one of the biggest in the Netherlands. It's between Ajax and Feyenoord who has the bigger fan base. And PSV, for example, is always the number 2 team in the Netherlands. But if you look from a distance, they're not that big. They don't have more fans than Feyenoord have. But yeah, they did not. How would you say this politely? They did not screw it up in their last 40 years. Feyenoord did. Feyenoord had some very, very made some very big mistakes in terms of direction moves and the trainers, and bought players for way too much money, and they never brought the same money back. So yeah, the last 2-3 years, I think everything is going sky high in Feyenoord, and Arne Slot is absolutely the one we have to thank for. So of course everyone was I think positive is an understatement. Everyone was so enthusiastic. For me, it felt like we were champions, and then 2 weeks later he gave a press conference where he told that he was going to stay. For me, that was becoming champions again after 2 weeks.
2 celebrations, like 2 parties.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely a big boost at Feyenoord. They've managed to keep a hold of their main man. You say their best signing of the summer was keeping the manager, and I think that just goes to show how well and how good a job Arne Slot has done for Feyenoord. To sort of topple PSV and Ajax. It was Ajax that finished 3rd last season. That's pretty much unheard of in terms of from the outside looking in, from other leagues looking at the Eredivisie. That's like a very, very surprising result. Ajax are usually first, or they're very close by in second. So to see that was a big surprise. But these things happen in the league, and I'm sure other leagues are the same when they look at maybe Celtic not winning the league in Scotland. But yeah, that's just on the dynamic of the Eredivisie. There's 3 massive three big teams, three teams that are ahead of everyone else. You could say AZ Alkmaar a wee bit further behind with that as well, but they're still there or thereabouts, around about the top of the table. They're regularly in European football, maybe not in the Champions League, but Europa League and Conference League, they're always there or thereabouts. What's the sort of dynamic like? Is it Ajax? Do they expect to win the league every single year, or PSV the same? What is the expectation for Feyenoord fans? Do you think there is now more of an expectation for Feyenoord to win the league now because of what happened last season and the season before in terms of the European adventure that they had?
Yeah, everything changed now because normally, I can remember last season. It really was between Ajax and PSV at the beginning, and Ajax started the competition quite well. I think with 6 wins, if I do remember correctly. But this all changed. This is what I tell you. This is what Arne Slot did with not only the city and with the football club, but also with the whole perspective in the Netherlands. It's very funny. Last season, we have a football magazine, and there are these football experts, this TV pundits who make like a ranking from 1 to 18. And Feyenoord was I think just one time last season in the top 2. This season there was just one TV pundit who did not put Feyenoord in the position of the championship. So that says everything, I think.
Expectations high.
Expectations are sky high. That makes it also quite funny, I think. I can remember in 2017, Feyenoord was champions as well. Then we lost big players, and we did not bring the best players back. So, I think then it was so difficult, also with playing the Champions League, higher level. So that was absolutely not the season we had hoped for. And this season, we were able to keep the best players out. Yeah, okay, just Orkun Kökçü left, but for the rest, we kept the best players. So and we also got a few good players back, I would say. So of course the expectations are very high in Rotterdam.
Yeah, and that's the reason why they're in the Champions League. They are the champions of the Netherlands, so there is that expectation for Feyenoord to do well. They're also the pot 1 team. They were the first team in the draw for this group, so there will be an expectation for them to continue on their European journey after Christmas. You would think in the last 16 that would be their aim. I think the aim for every team in this group, in Group E.
How was this? With Celtic, are people thinking you could finish second in the group or not?
I think it's different. Celtic fans will always be quite confident going into Europe because they know what Celtic Park is like. Celtic Park is an atmosphere unlike any other when it comes to European nights. That becomes like Celtic's best player is the atmosphere, and that can make maybe other opposition players scared, or it can give players for Celtic that maybe aren't playing as well in the lead up to the game. That can give them that extra bit of energy, that extra bit of stamina to push forward. Celtic have beaten some big names, such as Barcelona in the past. It's at Celtic Park. There has been big results. Even Lazio 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, both home and away. There is that history between Celtic and Lazio in that regard. So I think that's definitely one of the games that Celtic fans are really looking forward to. Celtic v Feyenoord at Celtic Park. I think that's going to be a great atmosphere for all involved, for both the travelling fans and the home fans. It's going to be some atmosphere. In terms of the group, Celtic, we're under no illusions. The supporters and everybody associated with Celtic are under no illusions. They are the pot 4 team. I think a lot of teams would have wanted Celtic in pot 4. They would want to avoid teams like Union Berlin and Newcastle from pot 4. Celtic would be more favourable in terms of, going to Scotland. Celtic don't play in the best league, so it's obvious that Celtic are very much a victim of that. The fact that they can't push on because of the league or because of the teams that they play against week in, week out, apart from Rangers, etc. But it's a game. It's 90 minutes. Anything can happen. I think there's more confidence with the home games than the away games, which is why there might be a wee bit of trepidation, a wee bit of pessimistic attitude coming into the game at the Coupe. But anything's possible. And with Brendan Rodgers, like you said with Arne Slot, I think one of Celtic's best sort of acquisitions or best signings was the return of Brendan Rodgers. He's an astute manager. He's worked against managers like Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Antonio Conte every week in the Premier League. That's got to make you a better manager, surely. It's a very interesting. It's going to be an interesting group. I think the confidence that the confidence that a lot of Celtic fans have is that teams will take points off each other, and there could be a team that struggles. That could be a surprise. Any team could do so. Celtic might end up with no points, but they might end up with 7 or 8 just by the way it's a very I would say it's a very interesting group.
No, absolutely.
4 really interesting
a group with possibilities, I think, because when I saw the draw and just before Celtic came out, Newcastle United came out with the draw, and I was shaking. I was thinking, oh, please not Newcastle United, because they were absolutely the best team in pot 4. And then, luckily Celtic came. And I was actually jumping around here in the house, because I was so happy with the draw. Not because, of course, we feel that there is a chance to get through, but also because there is a beautiful away game coming up. I've never been in Scotland. I already booked my ticket, by the way, so I will go.
Brilliant.
If I also manage to get a ticket in the stadium, there is, I think, 3,500 places in the away section. But there are more than 3,500 away fans of Feyenoord, so there will be a hard challenge. Let's hope for the best. But I will go anyway, because I think this is one of the trips we are going to remember in 10, 15 years. Absolutely. So that's why I was quite happy with this group. And if you look at the chances of getting through, I think, of course, Celtic fans should have this confidence, because last few years you also, what you just told before, you had some very good results against big teams. I can also remember the game they won against Barcelona. And Feyenoord exactly. So Feyenoord also can surprise. We beat Lazio last year with 1-0 in the Kuip. That's the reason why we went through in the group stage. But let's not forget that Feyenoord lost the first game with 4-2, and it was 4-0 after 60 minutes or so. So this is a group. I think there are some big challenges, and I think you would feel the same. Home games, you can with a little bit of luck, you can get 9 points, I think, and this is how we feel the same. Feyenoord won a couple of years ago against Atletico. That was a friendly game, but it was actually quite funny. It was the first game of Arne Slot. Okay, he already played some friendlies before, but the first game with the cameras on it and with it felt really like a European Cup game. It was just a friendly game. Feyenoord won that game in the injury time, and after the game. The manager of Atletico, Simeone, was so mad. He pushed our trainer. He pushed Arne Slot away, so he did not want to give him a hand. It also to do with a red card Atletico got after 20 minutes, I think. And this is just how crazy this trainer is. I don't know how you look at Atletico, but in our podcast, I told some things about Atletico. Their manager, Simeone, earns 34 million a year.
Yeah, he's the highest paid manager in the world, I believe, or he's one of them. He's up there with Pep Guardiola. I know there's a reason why he's stayed at Atletico Madrid for so long. Yes, he's won titles there. Very difficult to separate Barcelona and Real Madrid, but the amount of money he's getting paid and the stadium that he's playing in is incredible as well. That'll be a good away trip for both teams. But, it's going to be interesting to come up against Atletico Madrid as well. But who's to say Celtic and Feyenoord can't beat them? If it was to be Celtic and Feyenoord to make it through to the next round of the Champions League, I don't think there'd be too many complaints between either of us, to be honest.
Where could I sign? Because this would be a beautiful plan to do. If Feyenoord and Celtic can surprise as the number 1 and 2 of the group, why not?
I think with Club Brugge, it shows that anything is possible, because Club Brugge finished first in their group last season. So even these teams that maybe aren't fancied or they aren't expected to do as well, they can bring a surprise if they're tactically astute and they're ready for whatever's coming to them. Just a word on what the Celtic supporters, what can the Celtic supporters expect going to Rotterdam? What sort of a location is Rotterdam? Do you think they'll enjoy their time there? I know there's a great relationship between the Feyenoord fans and the Celtic fans. Do you think the two will get on really well in the city? And do you think it'll be a good trip for those away fans to sample?
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully. There has been some incidents with other group of fans from other teams the last few years. I already saw a mention on Twitter a few weeks ago that this group was going to be the nightmare of the police in all these countries. But I cannot imagine. That there has been that there's going to be negativity around this game, because what we just talked about, there is some friendship between the teams. So of course I hope they will be in the pubs drinking beers, enjoying, making a big party of it, and then of course then the game will be another story. That will be like a war, I hope, on the field. With 3 points to Feyenoord, of course. But yeah, no. All jokes aside, I think this should not be a problem at all. Is it sold out? Do you know this? If it's sold out,
It will be. Yeah, Celtic will take their whole allocation. Yeah,
yeah.
Celtic. Away tickets are a bit of a nightmare to get at the moment in any situation. It's just due to the fact that Celtic have been really good. There was a point about 10 or so years ago where it was quite easy to go to away games. That's not the case now. Celtic have had a very, very successful time of it, and now the demand is there for these games. So it's very, very difficult to secure a ticket. There'll be a lot of fans going there. I mean, the allocation that Celtic will have been given by Feyenoord, there will be more fans outside the ground and in the bars and shops around the place. So it will be very busy with Scottish fans as well as Feyenoord fans. So it should be a very good atmosphere between the two sides, you would say.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm also going to the youth game, the under 19, if I say correctly. They're playing, of course, in the youth league, and that's very close to the stadium. So I will watch the game 2 times on Tuesday. Yeah, looking forward to that. Absolutely.
That's your day absolutely sorted, because you've got the youth game on the Tuesday morning, afternoon, and then you've got the senior game at night. It's a day of football. I couldn't think of a much better day, if I'm being honest, with maybe a few drinks in between. But yeah, it should be a really good tie. I just finally, before we finish up, because I know you're a busy guy. What do you think the score prediction will be? Now, you don't need to make up a scoreline because I'm here. What is your honest opinion on what the score is going to be between Celtic and Feyenoord on Tuesday night?
I think, despite not having the 2 strikers available, Feyenoord Feyenoord should be able to beat this Celtic side. You know, a couple of years ago there were big stars in the. This is how I look at Celtic. There are not that many big stars at Celtic. I know the goalkeeper, Joe Hart. Is he playing?
Yeah, he will be playing. He is Celtic's number 1 goalkeeper. Coming towards the end of his career, he's 36 now. There has been links with numerous goalkeepers. There was a link in summer with Lovakovic, who's the Croatian goalkeeper. He went to Fenerbahce instead. But yeah, he is one of the sort of household names. 75 caps for England. Everybody knows about him. Everybody knows about what happened with him and Pep Guardiola as well. So yeah, he's had a bit of a career resurgence at Celtic, you could say. He's been a couple of mistakes here and there, but for the most part, he's been pretty consistent, and he's got a lot more trophies to his name now since joining Celtic.
Yeah. He's a legend in the goal, of course. So, but I think he's gonna have he's going to have a heavy night, conceding 3 goals. If I may say a prediction, I would say 3-0. So, no, okay, I will give you 1 goal, 3-1.
Oh, you're so kind. Thanks for giving us a goal, 3-1. So the danger men, I know you were talking about not having a striker. Who's going to be scoring the goals then, if that is the case? Who's going to be stepping up to the plate in the absence of Ueda and Santiago Jimenez?
I think we will have some surprises there. We will probably play with a winger in the striker position. I think it's going to be Igor Paisao. He's from Brazil. He plays for the Olympic squad of Brazil and made his debut last week. He was in Morocco, by the way, where there were earthquakes. 2 players of Feyenoord actually, and one just 70 kilometers away. So that's a crazy story. Slept outside for 2 nights. I think those 2 guys are gonna. Minte is the other guy playing for Gambia, maybe as you would say. I think those 2 guys are gonna make the difference. Maybe a little bit unexpected, but they're gonna make the difference for Feyenoord next Tuesday.
Yeah, they're definitely 2 players to look out for. Just before we finish, I know you were talking about the name of your podcast, and I will give you a shout out towards the end of the podcast in the next couple of minutes. You said it was a German name. Where did that originate from? The Kein Geloel podcast name?
Yeah, that's a quite funny story. We had our manager Ernst Happel in 1970 when we won the cup, the European Cup, of course, against Celtic in the final. Ernst Happel from Austria.
No.
I think I'm gonna say it 5 more times afterwards. No. He was the manager, Ernst Happel from Austria, and he had this funny German accent. Could speak a little bit of Dutch, but he had one very famous phrase that was Kein Geloel, Fußball spielen, and that means something like no bullshit, just play football. So when we started 6 years ago, or no, it's already 7 years ago, we were thinking about this name, but what would be a good name? So we chose this name. That's the whole story behind it.
Perfect. I love that because you've got a manager from your past and you're bringing it into the present as well. It means you're not forgetting about your history, as well as talking about all the good times that your club's having currently with regard to Feyenoord and their league wins and their Champions League qualification, Conference League finals as well. Definitely a club that's on the up and good things are happening under Arne Slot. Well, all that's left for me to say is good luck for Tuesday. I think it should be an interesting game. By the time that this video comes out, it'll be very close to the game. So hopefully it's given everybody their pre-match fix. Just before we go off of today's special sit down, where can Celtic fans find you, and what podcasts do you do if they want to hear more about what you have to say regarding Feyenoord?
Sorry, this question I did not understand that well.
Where can the Celtic fans find you, like on Twitter or X as it's called now, or on the podcast?
Just type in Kein Geloel podcast on Google, and you will have everything. You can find us on X, on Facebook, Instagram. I hope there are some Dutch listeners from the Celtic podcast, because we are making the podcast. Yeah, not in English, in Dutch. So it will be, I think, difficult to understand for you guys. But if you would like, you can give us a follow on Instagram, and there is this button that translates everything. So that makes it easier.
They get the Google Translate, and you've got a transcribe button as well. Do you know there's an app for absolutely everything nowadays? So I'm sure there will be Dutch Celtic fans in and around. There'll be definitely loads of supporters clubs in and around. I'm fairly certain that there will be a Rotterdam Celtic supporters club. The two sides. I guess they'll watch both games in that sort of area, but don't quote me on that. But I would presume that there is a supporters club in Rotterdam, so that will be definitely something to look out for. Wesley, thank you very much for joining me today. I really do appreciate all your input regarding Feyenoord. Best of luck for Tuesday. Just before we finish off, guys, as I said at the start of the video, if you could please subscribe to the Celtic Way YouTube channel. There has been a real influx of subscribers over the past month or so. We really do appreciate it. If you press the subscribe button at the bottom of the screen, you'll get premieres with regard to live videos like this, pre-recorded videos like this, and live streams as well, pre and post match content, and the daily morning briefings that we do at 10 o'clock every morning, every weekday morning. So if you are interested, please press the subscribe button. And furthermore, if you subscribe to the Celtic Way, you'll be supporting top quality football journalism. That's the website, and covering the club you love. If you visit our website link at www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe, it'd be a really good help for us. £4 for 4 months of content, so you'll have plenty of content until the start of next year. You'll have all the Champions League games accounted for in terms of previews, reactions, instant reactions, press conferences as well. So if you are interested, please subscribe. £4 for 4 months, and it would really help us. Wesley, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate that. And good luck for the game on Tuesday. We'll look forward to talking about it. Hopefully we can get you on the channel again to discuss the game. Thank you very much, guys, and we'll speak to you all later. Cheers.